Hey everyone, Douglas Blair Roberts here, the Super Beta 400, Mr. the Fanboy, and of course the Brown Skin Human. Come back at you with another professional wrestling series of reviews. And as you can see by the title, this is my Impact Wrestling pay-per-view in 2019 review. The very first one we're going to start off with is Bound for Glory 2019. Been trying to do this video for some time now, but for some odd reason I've always wanted to go in order and start with early 2019, even though early 2019 is nowhere near as good as mid to late to mid 2019. So with this pay-per-view series, I'm going to start off I'm going to start off with the best and go all the way to the least and worst. And the best show was Impact Wrestling Bound for Glory 2019. That will be reviewed right here in this off-camera portion. Then the match reviews will be when when I um when I make my grand entrance on will be on camera. Will be on camera. The match reviews of the Battle Royal, Ken Shamrock versus Moose, and the main event of Brian Cage versus Sami Callihan. Those are the three matches that will be reviewed. For the other ones, Slammiversary, Rebellion, Homecoming, and any of the one night only shows I can still find. There will be a part two. There will be a part two. There will be a part two. Quote unquote. There will be a quote unquote part two narration. There will be a part. Two, there will be a part two webcam. The part two off-camera webcam narration. Then the match reviews and rants for those respective shows. But yeah, let's so yeah. Yeah, this is also a remake of another video I've done, but I haven't uploaded yet. I did another one where I reviewed the show separately and the matches separately, but I never uploaded that one. That one may be uploaded in the future. It's on my channel, but it's in private. Then there was another one, and then there was another series I was gonna do, and that was of course the audio narration with pictures. That's taking longer than usual, so that will be sometime in the future. Also, this will only have one to three match reviews. But in the future, since I like this show and many more so much, I might review them and review the other matches on the card too. Since I like rewatching this show, and the links, of course, are still available. For those of you who want the links, just comment on the video, and I'll give you the links to watch these events. Don't feel like putting them all in there, but I may put them in there if I remember. So yeah, Bound for Glory 2019. What a phenomenal pay-per-view it was from beginning to end. The entire card. I enjoyed every match, with of course the main events and the opener being the best. And those are the two matches I chose to review first. That's why this review took so long. It's nearly like 1 to 2 years late, 1.5 years late because I couldn't decide what to review first. I wanted to review everything, but that was taking too long. So I decided to review my favorite stuff from the card, my favorite, most preferred stuff to watch. But I enjoy everything. In the opener, you had Eddie Edwards defeating Joey Ryan, Renault Scum, Rohit Raju, Gama Singh, Tommy Dreamer, Johnny Swinger, Sabu, Mahabali Shira, who he pinned last, Mahabali Shira, and and um and several women, Swoggle, and Jake and Cody Deaner to win the Call Your Shot Battle Royal for a match for a title match of his choosing anytime he won in this Battle Royal right here. Awesome match. I'm just mad that wrestlers like Petey Williams, Aiden Prince, and T.J. Perkins were nowhere near this match. Were quote unquote nowhere near this match. They would have made it even much more exciting. X Division guys. But yeah, it was awesome seeing Joey Ryan again, who got the loudest pop of the night, followed by the debuting Kali Ray. Wish Johnny Swinger could have done more too. He had a brief spot in this match too. Um, then you had Michael Logan defeating Marufuji in a pretty good match. Nothing special, but a great match nonetheless. Then you had the tag team match with Rhino, RVD, taking on the North. And this is interesting right here because I wanted RVD and Rhino to defeat the North, Ethan Page and Josh Alexander, the North. But RVD, for the first time since 1997 and the Alliance days, turned heel by turning on Rhino in the match. I remember I was mad at the time, but I can congratulate Impact Wrestling for having the balls to do something like that. Used to do something like that in 2019. Still trying to make the RVD character, who was really just here for nostalgia matches, try to make him briefly relevant in try to make not try to make his try to upgrade and evolve his character more from what it was in the past. I respect Impact Wrestling for that, and I'm sad that he's no longer in Impact Wrestling. He had a lot of people I wanted him to feud with and face before he departed from Impact Wrestling. Next is so, and with Rhino, with RV turning on Rhino, that allowed Ethan Page and Josh Alexander to retain. Then you had the four-way person X Division ladder match between Jake Christ, and Ace Austin, two of the wrestlers I wanted to win. The newly debuted Ace Romero, and Tessa Blanker, awesome match. Only thing I hate about this match is Tessa Blanker, because we see what happened. We saw Tessa Blanker's true colors when the COVID-19 pandemic hit, and I wish that Impact Wrestling did not dedicate so much time pushing her, because that caused a lot of wrestlers like Brian Cage, Killer Cross, and many more to leave. That also caused Eli Drake to leave. So I'm a huge fan of Tessa Blanchard as a wrestler. I have a huge hatred for her as a person, for the harm she's done to Impact Wrestling Wrestling. But the right guy won here. Ace Austin won this awesome match right here. Then you had the main events: Moose versus King Shamrock, football versus MMA, and Shamrock at 56 years old tore it up. Both him and Moose played their roles and characters well, but Shamrock at 55 years old tore it up, and in 2020 at 56 years old still tore it up. Ken Shamrock, the first and original, and currently the new Brian Cage is Ken Shamrock. Then after that, main event: Brian Cage versus Sami Callihan. Another tough physical match between two of the toughest and biggest and strongest wrestlers in Impact Wrestling, Brian Cage and Callihan. And boy, was it an awesome match. Some people say Callihan should have won here. Probably should have, especially after that awesome promo he cut in the beginning, talking about his whole career and each crime he committed in wrestling. But I've wanted the Machine to hold on to that belt for a long time. Callahan would later dethrone him for the belt on an Impact after this. But Brian Cage, man, was this a phenomenal match, man. And Brian Cage came out dressed as Wolverine earlier in the match. So yeah, this was Impact Wrestling Bound for Glory. Also, the One Shots to Glory song that played in the theme song, that played in the intro, that was good. That was good too. So, and this had probably one of the largest crowds of Impact Wrestling. So, like I said, a phenomenal card, man. Well, let me get started with the intro right now. for the second part of my Impact Wrestling Homecoming review. This is the results portion. Like I said in part one, actually I didn't say this in part one, but actually, um, this show right here, I've always been wanting to talk about this show for a long time, but I wasn't sure how to review it. Review it. This show, while for the most part was a pretty good wrestling show and a great wrestling show to start off 2019, this show right here, my opinion, was one of Impact Wrestling's weakest and worst pay-per-views because they had one of the worst cards of all time. Only, well, all the matches were good. Only, only a couple, and mostly the main event were really pay-per-view quality. Every other match on here could have been on Impact. The coolest thing about this pay-per-view was the venue, the classic Tennessee Asylum, where most of the old Impact Wrestling pay-per-views from the early 2000s, from 2002 through 4, used to be held before they switched to the Impact Zone. I've always loved the Asylum and wish they would have kept it alongside the Impact Zone. It was a much bigger and better venue than the quote unquote Impact Zone than the quote unquote Impact Zone. But yeah, yeah. So it was really cool to see them return there. Despite all that, you had the card was good in the match for in the online in the on camera portion. I'm gonna review three matches. That's the Eddie Edwards Moose match, Eli Drake and Abyss, and quote unquote Brian Cage and Johnny Impact. You Like I said, you start the show off with an X Division. I think an X Division Ultimate X match between Rich Swann defeating Ethan Page, Jake Christ, and Trey Miguel in a surprisingly good X Division match, considering there were really no stars apart from Jake Christ in the match. I didn't really think much of this match. When I watch this match now, I enjoy it much better, especially where looking at where Rich Swann is today. Then you had Ali and Su Young defeating Jordan Grace and Kiera Hogan by technical submission. Eddie Edwards defeating Moose in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Sami Callihan with Dave Christ defeating Willie Mack. Eli Drake defeating Abyss in a Monsters Ball match. The Latin American Exchange, Santana and Ortiz defeating the Lucha Brothers, Phoenix and Pentagon Jr. Talia Valkyrie defeating Tessa Blanchard. Johnny Impact defeating Brian Cage. This was, of course, Brian Cage's option C from late 2019. Also, um, so yeah, this card was also harmed by a lot of departures, such as Matt Sydal and Taiji Ishimori. That's what also harmed this pay-per-view. But other than that, it was a pretty good pay-per-view. So yeah, this was the results portion. Get ready for the match. Get ready for the match reviews coming next.
Elbow missed, and Cage not able with a ducking and weaving of Johnny. Maybe Johnny's trying to gas Cage early. Back and forth, they go.
Hey everyone,
Reversal knock by
time
Cage.
for my
Not a bad strategy by Johnny.
review
But Cage has got incredible cardio.
the main event of Homecoming, Impact Wrestling Homecoming 2019. That was Brian Cage taking on Johnny Impact for Johnny Impact's newly won Impact World Heavyweight Championship. This was Brian Cage's option C, which he cashed in at the end of 2018. This match right here was awesome, and between this and their Rebellion match, I thought this match was much better. This is also Johnny Impact's last time as a babyface. The match started off like boxing, wrestling, MMA, and kickboxing match with Brian Cage throwing blows and Johnny Impact just using his maneuver, using his quickness to outmaneuver Cage. The first move of the match was a shoulder block from Impact, followed by a suplex into the ring. A suplex into the ring from Cage. Then then became an actual pro wrestling match with stiff shots, high impact moves. Cage, he did the signature maneuvers. He did the clotheslines, followed by the Izaguri into German suplex. The clothesline into German suplex. John Morrison first did a starship pain to the outside on Cage, where the knee badly hit Cage. That was a brutal looking spot. Then he did the signature Uranagi somersault Uranagi slam in the ring and on the outside. There was also a brief moment where a fan interfered in the match. A fan briefly interfered in the match, and the referee had to go out there and take control of it. Brian Cage shoved the fan, but this caused a distraction when Brian Cage had the match won. Brian Cage did the power bomb into corner into drill claw, but that wasn't enough. Because the referee was distracted. Then later, Impact won the match with a suplex on with a springboard suplex off the ropes on Brian Cage, which Brian Cage barely kicked out of at 3. Thus, Impact won. Brian Cage showed respect and gave Impact the title, Killer Cross came out and attacked both of them and powerbomb Italian Valkyrie into the front row. So like I said, awesome main event to close out Impact Wrestling Homecoming. And this was, despite the weak card, was a great pay-per-view to start off 2019. Like I said, the venue made this pay-per-view box office worthy quality. Well, if you don't want to hear the rest of this music, turn the video off right now.
I like the arm bars. Did you notice that? Yes. Do you like Cage looking for different lateral presses, different hitting opportunities? Tell you what I like him laying that 280.